Happy Monday, everyone. Good evening. Hi, welcome. It's first stream of the week time. Let's catch everyone up on where we are. Last we left off, Dundee United. We played in the Dundee Derby. We drew 2-2 with Dundee at home after a red card early on in the game. The last stream actually was full of red cards. 3 or 4 were dished out in the end and ruined quite a few games for us, but we did actually manage to win one of those. Up tonight, we start off with a visit to Newcastle United in the Europa Conference League, and let's face it, we're not going to win that one. We're going there to enjoy the time and hopefully, not embarrass ourselves too much. Looking at the situation in the Conference League, any points would be well received, but we do face the New Saints TNS in the final game of the league phase. Think that should be enough to see us through to the knockout stages. That is what the club wants us to be able to do. They're looking for us to be to reach at least the knockout stages of the Europa Conference League, which I think we should be able to do with a win against TNS. So hopefully this upcoming Newcastle game isn't going to uh, make or break our Conference League season. And let's get into it. So, how is everyone tonight? I got absolutely soaked coming home from work today. Got off walking to the train station, absolutely soaked. It was still raining when I got off the train at the other end half an hour later. So, pretty much like a wet dog at one point. Okay, right. Now we've got that press conference out of the way, we can get into it. For those who've joined us for the first time, this is 6 years into my what was my private save, and I started streaming just a few nights ago. So I thought, while I'm testing the waters and deciding whether this is something I want to continue with longer term, I thought I'd just pick up a save I'm already playing. I started unemployed, no coaching badges, Sunday league reputation, and ended up with my first two jobs being in Sweden. The first one with Angered BK, where we joined them partway through the season and managed to save them from relegation before going on to win the league with them, which was absolutely fantastic. Finishing first place in Division 2 Norra Gotland, which, if you happen to speak Swedish, I'd really appreciate a translation. I'm sure that's Division 2 North something, Gotland being a region in Sweden, perhaps. We took one season in Division 1 with Angered and Division 1 Sodra, and finished ninth. Not too bad. Safe from relegation. We actually were sort of in the top 4 or 5 for much of the season before dropping down with some poor form. Osters, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, picked us up in the same division, but with a vastly superior squad and an awful lot more money, particularly wage budget for me to use. And we won the Division 1 Sodra at the first time of asking, and then immediately won the next league up, the Superettan, to get ourselves promoted to the Allsvenskan, where we finished third and qualified for I believe it was the Europa League, it may have been the Conference League. But from there, Dundee United snapped us up, and once again, the offer of a bigger transfer budget, bigger crowds, and ultimately more money to spend drew me into Dundee United, who were 11th place at the time when I picked them up after 23 games. Um, we went on a remarkable run of form from when I joined. My first game with Dundee United was a 3-2 loss at home to Hibs, and I really wondered what I was in for. I think we conceded those 3 goals within the first 30 minutes of the game, and suddenly that task looked huge. But we only lost one more game for the entire season. And that was a shellacking from Celtic. They really slapped us down hard at Celtic Park. But we did get our revenge on them by beating them at Hampden Park 1-0 in the Scottish Cup final. So a fourth place finish and a Scottish Cup win, topping off a really quite successful season, even though I joined part way through. So far this season, the form's not been too bad. A little bit sketchy at times, but I think the biggest thing is we seem to be getting red cards on a remarkably efficient level. So we had one against Hibernian, one against Dundee. I believe we also had one against St Johnstone here. So yes, 3 red cards in the last session on Friday night. Let's hope we can keep 11 players on the pitch for at least some of these games tonight. So without further ado, let's get clicking through. If you are joining us for the first time, if you are new here, please do jump into the chat, come say hello, drop us a follow, and see where the night takes us. Ooh, you're a good player out on loan. Do I recognise you? 21 and Welsh. Signed on a free from Man United, so probably not going to be homegrown at the club. Will eventually be homegrown in Scotland, however. Well, that's promising. So potentially a future player for us there. Hopefully, gain a bit of experience while out on loan at Greenock Morton, and will come back to us eventually, ready for a first team place. Here we go. Dundee United set for European clash, and 50% of the fans and pundits think that Newcastle will win. I'd say that's fewer than I was expecting. I'd easily see this going Newcastle's way. Obviously, they are. We're 6 years into the future, so Newcastle probably quite a big deal. Although we don't know how they've been getting on. Have they won a Premier League? No. Haven't finished in the top 3 so far. And I suppose if they're in the Conference League, they can't have played all that well last season, finishing 8th. Fourth place being their top finish. Well, let's say, suspect that as they're an English team, they're they're definitely far better resourced, and probably with a better squad than we have. But maybe they're not quite the team that I'm worried about. Although the first question is giant killers. Well, are we going to be potential giant killers? So I think that tells a story. We won't make any predictions. Thank you. Okay, press conference done. Let's get to the game. Wonder how far it is between Dundee and Newcastle. It's probably not as far as some of the games we've travelled to so far. But we did have a match away against Karabag, was it? Or was that a home game? Yeah, away to Karabag, probably the furthest we've had to travel so far in our European adventures. So we've got an upcoming game at home to Livingston, who have had a terrible start to the season as well. So we can probably look to rotate the squad a little bit for that one before the new Saints come to visit us at Tannadice, and we can put our strongest side out for that. Ross County on the following Sunday. We've got, I mean, it's a very busy run of fixtures. We are midweek and weekend for significant period of time to come. So we are going to have to use all of our squad to try and get through this next period of games. But this is the one I want the strongest side available. It's not great that Otterson and Shashua are looking like they are injured for this one. So we may end up leaving them on the bench. They may have to come on depending on how things go. Although neither of them look in particularly healthy state, so they may not take part at all, which is a shame as they are, as I say, two of my better players. Okay, let's get Doherty out there. Huggins is just a walking red card at the moment. We'll get McLennan and Graham out. McLennan only 18, but usually fairly reliable in the big games. My other option really is Iacoviti, but he has a thing against big games, and so feels like a risk putting him on the pitch at St James's, at least to start. He might come on and do a job later in the game when McLennan inevitably tires. Okay, let's get Hadland in the box to box and George Hall playing as a deep line playmaker. Aguilar. Again is coming back for another start. And Lemeka. We shall put Andrucci up front. Obviously scored 4 goals in our... Who did you score 4 goals against? You definitely scored 4 goals in a game. Against Karabag in our last European game. So hopefully that's a good omen for what's going to happen in tonight's match. And the bench will be filled with just anyone who is eligible and fit, which isn't all that many players. Nisbet's definitely not fit enough. I'm going to put you guys on the bench just in case, but that's it. 11 subs, and 3 of those, 4 perhaps, no realistic chance of coming on. They're there just to make up numbers. We don't want to turn up at Newcastle looking like we've bought our squad out of Poundland. So let's at least try and fill most of the bench. Maybe one of the older looking ball boys can come and sit with us as well. Am I worried about complacency? No, not against this squad. Oh God. Okay. Let's get on with it. Europe away. Well, that's looking a little laggy on the stream. It's looking absolutely fine on my PC, on my screen here. Hopefully that rights itself soon. But just for those who are struggling to follow along, Newcastle have scored 1 minute and 19 seconds into the game. It feels like we're probably playing against Newcastle, who absolutely demolished Spurs yesterday. And my God, what fun that was to watch. Not if you're a Spurs fan, admittedly, but seeing a team score 5 goals in the first 20 minutes was incredible. Apparently the second fastest ever Premier League 5-0, behind Man City, who did it to Watford 5 years ago. It looks like we're trying to do this in the Conference League now. 2 goals down after 5 minutes, and I suspect we're going to push Tottenham quite close for this, although we've managed to get to 12 minutes only 2-0 down. That's 1 point to us, I would say. Oh, and we've actually had a shot. That's a very good free kick from McGuinness. McGuinness will go over to take the corner. Big men in the box at the back post there. Aims for McLennan. It's cleared away. And Cook completes the clearance. It's another corner for Newcastle. And oh dear me, Trafford has done what Trafford seems to do in the bigger games. Do wonder if he's got the doesn't like big games trait as well. Might have to look at that. Let's look at that now. Are you as bad as I worry? Enjoys big matches. Well, that's blown that out of the water. Unfortunately, goalkeeper error there has led to a third goal. I'm putting that one squarely on Trafford's shoulders. As we come back now with Frame down the left wing. He cuts back for Hall, who tries to get on his right foot before whipping the ball in. It's cleared by the Newcastle defence, and they look to spring a counter-attack with Isaac through the middle. Isaac blasted over the bar, thankfully for us, and 31 minutes, and it's only 3-0. Official Dundee United better than Tottenham. Well, don't think our defending has left much to be desired there. Well, it's left a lot to be desired, in fact. We've not really performed at all. We're going to have to give them a bit of a rocket. That was pathetic, that first half. And in fact, we're going to make a change. I'm going to make a change. Yep, I think we bring on Huggins. As long as he can keep himself on the pitch, I'll be happy. And Lemeka's had a torrid time out on the wing. But he's got the sort of stats, sort of attributes that means he can do something in this game. But so does Jack Vale. Let's get Jack Vale out there. We'll make some changes, try and freshen things up a little bit, and hope that makes an improvement. I mean, McLennan was one of the worst performing defenders there, but Ioka VT does worry me in the big games. And Trafford just palming one out to the Newcastle attacker there. And oh my goodness, we are doing our best to concede a fourth goal. We're going to encourage them because that's about all I can do at this stage, and hope that these guys pull themselves together soon. Okay. Lots and lots of shots for Newcastle so far, and it doesn't look like my positive approach to the game is working. It's not something I like to change much, and this has gone very laggy. This one's even appearing on my screen now. And Newcastle just passing the ball around us as we know they can. And that's a great ball down the right hand side there. And a decent clearance, but we are playing the ball back into trouble, and we've given that away. We've absolutely handed yet another goal to them. That's 3 goals now that we've given to Newcastle. They've not really had to do much work for that. When we pass it through to their attacking midfielder or their striker, you have to say that we're the ones who have been the masters of our own downfall, really. Okay, we're going to have to change things up a little bit in the hope that something good happens. And really, this is just pure hope. Take off some of the worst performing players, but I don't think it's going to make a huge amount of difference now. Okay, I'm going to berate them a little bit because it's one thing to be 1-0 down, but being 4-0 down and giving them 2 goals at least ourselves simply isn't good enough. Let's see how we get on now. So Frame out on the left wing puts the ball in for Lussie, and that's a very good save from Gurkhan for Newcastle. That was a very good ball, and Frame's not had a great game, but has maybe got a tiny bit of redemption there. Aguila with the corner in, and it's easily cleared. It seems we've had a couple of shots of late, but nothing worth mentioning other than that incredible cross. And Trafford actually does claim a ball. Well, that's nice to see. It was about time. He was due one, wasn't he? But we did see this in the second Conference League game against Vitesse when he saved 2 penalties. Incredible show of shot stopping, but then dived over a ball to give Vitesse a 1-0 win. Had done everything right up until that moment. And let's see. Oh, is that James Ward-Prowse? It is. Interesting signing at Newcastle. Well, that's disappointing. I always knew we'd lose that game, but to go 4-0, that doesn't feel great. No, I'm not happy with that at all. I just think we capitulated there, unfortunately. Okay, let's move on. Right, so next up, Livingston at home. So this should be a quite winnable game for us. Livingston are struggling down at the bottom. They haven't won a game yet. All they've managed is 5 draws, although one against Rangers, which is fairly impressive.